Now we're in Premier League carp fishing territory, and this place to me, Chris, looks absolutely fantastic.
Everything a carp angler could want. 16, 17 acres of water, varying depths from shallows of 2 or 3 feet down to about 14 feet. Beautiful head of big carp in here, at least 4 known 40s in here, 46 being the biggest, pulled forward, captured that last year. And all the 30s are growing. One of the Premier League fisheries in the country, I'd say this is.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice bit of trees on the one side.
Yeah.
Open all round as well. Very pretty. What are the tactics?
Various in here. People look for the bars. You fish between the bars and the silk patches. Margin fishing. I mean, along the far bank on what they call the 30s bank, very deep reed line, deep margins below that, and just literally drop a bait along the reed line and feed your line back to the bivvy. And distance work again, because there's so many gravel bars out there in the middle that you find those bars and fish to them basically.
It looks the sort of place for the more experienced carp angler rather than the novice.
Not an easy water. No, it's not something we could come down and bag up. A few guys get the odd fish, 3 or 4 fish perhaps. But I think if you get 10 fish a season out of here, you're doing pretty well. Yeah.
Well, definitely one for the more adventurous of you out there watching this, and certainly for me, one that I'd like to fish. So Paul, you've done a lot around Kent, especially on the old Milton complex as well. What can you tell us about trying to fish Pan Lake? How can we get some carp out of there?
Well, it's the Pan complex, I thought, would be a lot easier than Collingbrooke, and in reality it's not. It's quite a tricky lake. It's I think it's probably got a stock of 80, 100 carp in it. Of the stock, I would say 80 to 90% are commons in the sort of 18 to 26, 27 pound bracket. The mirrors are bigger fish. Most of them are over 30 pound, but there's not too many of them. However, with that stock density in about 12 acres, I thought it was going to be not easy, but much easier than Collingbrooke, and it wasn't. The fish are tricky. I don't know. It's difficult to put your finger on it. There's a lot of natural. There's probably as much, if not more, natural food in there than any lake I've fished. They show there's loads of areas where you can get up and have a look, and it is essential. I'd say to anyone who goes there, spend 10 minutes walking around having a look, because you can learn so much, because there is so much you can see. The water is absolutely gin clear, and this is bound to help you out.
Are they rig tricky or are they bait tricky?
It's hard to say, Rob. I don't think it's rigs, although they do get away with it a lot. I think it's purely that they've got the choice of whether to eat it or not, because they've got so much of a natural larder in there. There's masses of bloodworm, masses of damsels. When the hatches of sedges come off, they've got to be seen to be believed. Spots are important in there, feeding spots. They'll feed in 2 or 3 little spots in a swim and confidently pick bait up there, and other areas I tried, you just didn't seem to get a pick up from.
So accuracy is obviously very important.
Yes, it is. And different times of year, different types of bottom and different depths are going to be more productive than others.
Tell us about some of the fish you've caught there.
My first trip on to Milton Pan Lake was very windy, and I managed to catch 2 carp, and I thought, here we go, this is not going to take too long. And perhaps the next 6 or 7 trips I didn't get a bite, and thought I should have done. That season was all tricky. It was all tricky for me, and the next season, me and a chap called Ian Brown, who's a real good friend of mine, decided we were going to put some quality bait in there and put it in sensibly in spots where they could eat it without us fishing for them, and other spots where we were going to fish for them. And that was the key to it, really, was baiting it up sensibly with a quality bait. Then instead of mucking about with little bits and bobs, you knew your method, you knew what you were going to do. It was just a question of putting yourself on some fish and giving yourself a chance. I fished it a lot on overnighters, Rob. I don't have a lot of time, but I find in the week it was quiet enough to be able to slip down there at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. It's good access. You're straight through the gate, you're on the lake, and you can be away in the morning. In the summer it was a good overnight water, and I strung together some success at the end. So did Ian and Dave Hunt, who was fishing with us, and we caught most of the big fish in the lake. You know, at good times of year there's swirly makes sort of mid-40s, 45, 46 pound. The one of the mirrors in there goes 42, 43 pound. There's a lot of fish in the high 30s, maybe 10 fish in the sort of 35 plus bracket. And all the fish, are quality. You know, when you look at them and you think, that is a fish I'd like to catch. They're real, in super nick, super mouths, they're real good quality fish. And I'd recommend it to anyone, but as far as difficulty go, I would rate it as tricky. Tricky, you know, be prepared to fail, but keep at it, and I'm sure you'll find, as I did, that the rewards are well worth it. Well worth it.
Brilliant.
I love my time on there, really did love it.